It's you!
Andrew Garfield.
No, that's me! What?
If you're a brick filmer, you may have asked yourself, how can I get even better at brick filming? We've all wondered this, and some of you have even personally asked me on how you can improve. I started brick filming around 11 years ago, and through the years, I've learned a couple things that help me improve my videos from this to this. And I'm here to share these tips with you all. Number 1, find a way to take pictures without touching your camera. Back when I was younger, I never had a remote control or alternative way to take pictures for my videos, so I would always physically touch my camera to take a frame. This caused the camera to shake a bit with each photo, which is very noticeable in my videos. This can be distracting from the important details, and make an animation very difficult to focus on. Find any way you can take photos without ever having to touch the camera at all. With my current setup, I connect my camera to my computer, and using an app called DigiCam Control, I can take photos from the app itself, without ever having to touch the camera. It's perfect. Number 2, always be moving. When animating dialogue, you want to avoid any long periods of time where a character is just standing still and talking. Notice that in these entire 8 seconds of video, there's only one actual movement. Watching a conversation like this is just kind of boring. There's no life to it. It's just a photo and a voice line being played over it. It's like a slideshow almost. Now, you don't need to animate every frame of a voice line.
What do you mean you're at soup? I mean I'm at soup!
But you should try and listen to the line and pinpoint moments where a character might raise their arm, shift their body, or maybe have an emotional reaction to what they're saying.
52% on Rotten Tomatoes!
We're finished! Record your voice acting first, and animate a character using the voice acting as a blueprint. If a character is standing still motionless for longer than about 2 seconds, then maybe that's too long. Number 3, it's all about the arc. This is a tip I learned from watching an animation analysis by EORaptor.
So it looks like if a character's in motion like that, if they're following like a path of motion, and you just get the motion right, so that arc is super clean, right? So that's why it looks fine, even though there's a huge frame jump right there. So keep that in mind when you're animating. Arcs, it's all about the arcs, man.
This can be applied to stop motion as well. Whenever you have a character moving, an arm swinging, a body rotating, it needs to follow a very specific path, and you cannot break that path at all, otherwise it looks twitchy. Take this walk cycle for example. It looks a little twitchy. This is because while Robin moves forward, his body isn't always moving forward with his legs. In one frame, it doesn't follow the arc. His body moves back. By inspecting this walk cycle by, Mickey Mouse, you can see that no matter how his legs move, his body and head are always a little bit further to the left with each frame, which creates a smooth and consistent arc. It's all about the arc. Number 4, don't animate every inch of a movement. A lot of animators try really hard to attain smooth looking movements, and a lot of the times, this can lead to animators taking way more pictures than necessary to achieve a smooth looking animation. For example, take a look at this animation where Batman lifts his hands up. There's 7 frames total in this animation, at 15 frames per second, and in each frame, there's very small gaps in the movement. It should look smooth, but it's also slow, and also not very expressive. Here is that exact same movement, also in 7 frames, at the same frame rate of 15 frames per second. It's more expressive, interesting, and conveys emotion and dialogue better. I talk about this a ton, but understanding momentum and how a movement needs to build up speed and then lose that speed at the start and end of a movement is incredibly important. Compare these 2 sequences side by side. What differences do you notice? How are the poses different, and how does it serve the animation? Number 5, the 12 principles of animation. This isn't so much as a tip, rather than just me telling you to go watch this video called the 12 principles of animation. It's in the description. Hey y'all, thanks for watching. Just remember that these are just kind of guidelines, not really like hard and fast rules that you have to follow. Again, remember, study a lot of different animators, do your own thing, ultimately come up with what you think is right for you. I'm still working on Andrew Garfield vs. Tobey Maguire, that's going to be out next week. I'd like to thank all my patrons: Frank Briggs, Synthetic Heroin, Stampede Studios, Colton W, Marcus D, Alan P, ArkDNTGames, Bruno Bucciarati, Body Pillow Mecha Gundam, Carlos S, Daniel S, Kevin A, King Clueless, Stampede Studios, Stephanie B, Unfamous Studios, and Zachary. Thank you all so much. I'll see you guys next week.